rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Hopefully, everybody can hear me. Oh, happy anniversary, 3 Chevy. Oh, sort of. Not the marriage anniversary, but you asked a girl out. So, yeah, you guys got together 50 years ago. That's a milestone. 50 years is a milestone. Anyway, so I guess you could say happy anniversary, I suppose. So there you go. Anyway, and of course they redid their date. Pizza and beer, so that's cool. Okay, really quick. Barb over on Facebook. Yes, the horse is still kicking. He's still kicking, so that's good. Everything's good. I've been watching him, and he's doing just fine. Obviously though, he is at the end of life, so it's only a matter of time, just like for all of us. It's only a matter of time. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off here. So first things first, of course, is the Pledge of Allegiance. And tonight, on tap, is one of our favorites, Coco, Cam, and of course, Sean will be reciting the pledge for us this evening. So, if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hats if you're wearing one like me. Place your hand over your heart and let's listen to Coco, Cam, and we can never forget Sean reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, we all appreciate that Coco, Cam, and Sean submitted that for the Pledge of Allegiance. That is a wonderful pledge. We love hearing it. All of the Whiskey Warrior P1s do. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge in your style. Performing or, of course, reciting, either way, in your style, and then take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and you can either send it off to me via email, or you can share through your phone. Share it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. .online. I'm at 19 now. I need 20. I'm at 19. I need 20. I like those even numbers. So somebody's got to get me number 20. And I'm looking at either, let's see, there's, I don't think we've gotten one from Barb or Deb over on Facebook yet. Haven't gotten one from either one of them. So you guys are up. You have an opportunity here. I encourage you to give it a try, please. I'd like to get 20. Come on. Do I have to beg? I got to beg. Come on, get 20. Please, help me get to 20. All right, let's go ahead and talk about tonight's... let's go talk about tonight's headline sponsor. The Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. Ooh. 2, our rights come from him. That's important. Going to be talking about that tonight. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up, and while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's iotc.americanperspective.online. Or if you just want to purchase this Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. Get yours today. Tim Kaine could use one of these. Anyway, let's talk about it. It's 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant, not to mention the fact that the internals are bound together not by cheap glue, but by stitching that goes through all the way through the leather. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if there is a problem with this thing, you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is Buddy tested, Buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will get you studied up for your civics badge in scouting. Can also help study for that civics exam if you still have it. Go to constitution.americanperspective.online to get yours today, and don't forget to check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution's offerings, as they have fantastic products, and also, like I said, the free class, the free U.S. Constitution course. They got them all. You can do that by heading off to iotc.americanperspective.online. Go and check them out, and I appreciate them for allowing me to be a brand ambassador or affiliate. I can't remember exactly what I am with them, but I do know that I enjoy pushing their product, especially that Constitution. You know, if I were to win the Powerball jackpot, I think I would purchase one for every member of Congress. And potentially even send one to the president, too, just because. And J.D. Vance. Do them all. Yeah, just do all of them. Yeah. Anyway, yes, I am a product pusher. Yeah, that's Coco D, insert name here. All right, folks, let's start things off tonight. Yeah, DC has finally got off their ass. Well, I mean, for the left. They finally have been like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and now sue the Trump admin seeking to stop the National Guard deployment. Yep. This is in the Epic Times. Well, I suppose I could show it to you. Let's... Yep, the DC swamp has decided to try and sue the Trump admin seeking to stop the National Guard deployment. Why? I mean, just that. Why? Why? Why is it that you would want to stop a good thing? As far as I am aware, there hasn't been any murders since this has happened. As far as I am aware, crime is down across the board, and I'm not talking about modifying, the modified numbers. I'm talking about reality. People feel safer walking around in D.C. now. And I don't understand why these desperate Democrat leftist lunatics all seem to want to take the things that are good in our world and try and tear it down and turn it into something that it isn't. Well, we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see if they are even halfway successful. Hopefully, they'll be the judge that they end up in front of. Hopefully, will laugh at them and be like, "Yeah, 1973 Home Rule Act. Yep, he's totally within his rights." So, yeah, the lawsuit that's being brought alleges that the deployment violates the district's semi-sovereign status known as home rule. Hey, yo, huh? My gosh. All right, let me go in here. And yes, I am referring to the U.S. Constitution that I have here in my hand. Oh, let's see. Yeah, under Article 1, Section 8. I don't know what paragraph it is, but it's down in the section. But hey, let me read this to you. To exercise, now this is under Congress. Okay, so the first article is setting up Congress. That's the Senate and the House of Representatives, okay? It also signifies what government can write laws about. And this is one of the items in Article 1, Section 8 that is basically saying, hey, Congress, you're allowed to do this. Let me just point this out to this DC moron. To exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district as may, by secession of particular states and the exception of Congress, become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, articles, dockyards, and other needful buildings. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I seem to think that, yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, folks, but, yeah. The federal government, Congress, has control over that. Okay? Yeah. Congress has control over all that, folks. Anyway. Now, even within the home rule, by the way, the section, I can't remember, I think it's either 40 or 140. I believe it's section 40. But anyway, even that says that the president has the ability to do this. So I literally have no idea why any judge would even entertain this. I mean, he or she, if they're a judge at all, would just look at this and laugh and be like, yeah, you go away. This is a waste of the court's time. Case dismissed with prejudice, meaning that it cannot be retried. So there you go. Yeah. I mean, even like legal scholars have all said, yeah, he's fully engaged on all of this. He's fully engaged on all of this. So I just, these people, I'm telling you, they just, all they want to do, and knowing DC, they're going to find a judge that's going to be sympathetic and say, oh, no, I'm a district judge, and I'm going to go ahead and, usurp the Constitution like they all have. This is starting to get really tiresome, I'm going to be honest with you. And I think that's even being reflected all the way up to SCOTUS, because even some SCOTUS justices are starting to look and say, hey, you know what? We don't care whether you agree with us or not. You still have to abide by our rulings. So, yeah. There you go. Well, now we have further leftist lunatic morons that are starting to, Well, let's just say that they are going to stretch things a little bit. And this guy, wait a minute. Before I play this video, I got to let me see who this guy is. This guy is Goldberg. That's his last name is Goldberg. What is it? Jonah Goldberg. He is the editor-in-chief of the Dispatch. Yeah. And he went on to CNN recently, and he suggested that, well, the Democrats could actually use what Trump is doing to do something else that they would love to do. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this guy say what he's going to say. Yeah.
All of this. And I'm all for crime reduction, but the conservatives who are celebrating this, you listen to the mayor of Chicago talk about the gun crisis in America. Well, what is the stop, given the precedents that Donald Trump is setting? What is to stop a Democratic, a Governor Pritzker, a Governor Newsom to say, we have a gun crisis in America, just as legitimate on the facts arguments as a crime crisis, and say we're going to send the National Guard into states to go get their guns? There have to be standards here. The reason why Pritzker I get it for the politics. He keeps saying Trump was begging me to ask him to come. The reason why.
Okay. There is a huge difference. A huge difference between what this guy is talking about and what Donald Trump is doing. Donald Trump is utilizing the National Guard to back up and support federal ICE agents, especially in cities where they are not going to get support from the local police agencies. That's number one. Number two, this idiot seems to think that it's a gun problem in America. We don't have a gun problem. We literally do not have a gun problem. What we have is we have a mental illness problem. We have an incarceration of criminals problem, or a lack thereof. We have a problem with people, with not having wholesome families and being raised in proper environments, faith and community support and things of that nature. Yeah, those are the problems that we have. Okay, those are the issues that we have. And let's just go even one step further. Crime itself isn't enshrined in the Constitution as a right of the people to be able to have these, weapons in our hands. Crime isn't enshrined in the Constitution at all. See, again, these people, these morons, they keep running around. And speaking of guns, I really am waiting to see what the left is going to do with regards to an item that the Trump Department of Justice is deliberating over. We'll get to that in just a second, but first, I want to tell you about Caddis Sports Tubes. It's a fishing float tube. It's called the Nevada Fishing Float Tube. If you're an angler and if you're ready to fish remote lakes or quiet rivers in total stealth mode, let me tell you, come and check out the Nevada Fishing Float Tube from Caddis Sports. This is a U-shaped beast, and it's built for serious fishing missions. Ultra stable, super maneuverable, and tough as nails thanks to a heavy-duty ripstop material and double-stitched seams. You'll get a padded backrest, oversized seat, 2 large gear pockets, a rod holder, a stripping apron, and even a dry fly patch. Everything you need to stay locked in and ready when the bite is on. Fluorescent accents keep you visible out on the water, and carry handles make it easy to haul in and out. And whether you're chasing bass in the shallows or hiking into alpine trout lakes, the Nevada Float Tube is built for that job. Use promo code RUMBLE, RUMBLE, at checkout for 10% off your order today. Head off to caddissports.com. That's CADDISSPORTS, all one word, .com, and check it out. Don't forget to use the promo code RUMBLE at checkout for 10% off your Nevada fishing float tube from Caddis Sports. That's CADDIS sports.com. And using promo code RUMBLE at checkout for 10% off your order. That's caddissports.com. Get out there, stay light, and catch the big one. Oh, there you go. All right. So, let's talk about this breaking thought process. Here it is, according to the Daily Wire. Trump DOJ deliberates over a gun ban for transgenders. The Justice Department is apparently actively considering a range of options to prevent mentally unstable individuals from committing acts of violence. Now, here's the thing, folks. And I'm just going to point this out. As much as somebody wants to jump on the bandwagon and go, you know what? That's right. We want to keep mentally ill individuals from having these guns. I just want to point out one thing and one thing only. And that is, not all people who are transgenders are going to or need to have their rights stripped away. See, here's the problem, and here's the challenge. And this is one of the things dealing with stuff like red flag laws and all these other things. The minute you start putting or adding conditions onto what is essentially an inalienable right, okay, once you start adding conditions to this, then it becomes easier to add further conditions. Such as, for an example, well, I heard, Rick Thomas talking the other day, and he mentioned the fact that he, was potentially exploring bomb making. Now, keep in mind that is totally it's a farcical statement, okay? But all you have to do is just say that. Now, that individual might be thinking in terms of, or in my case, for an example, it'd be like, oh, that's an engineering feat. It'd be kind of interesting to understand the electronics and the, how the switch goes and how you would wire in a clock or whatever. And it's that kind of interesting sort of, thought process that might go along with it. But you see, if you immediately say, hey, anybody who thinks about possibly building, something like that, they automatically lose their gun rights, which is what red flag laws do. All you need to do is have somebody claim that individual is unstable or whatever. And next thing you know, these red flag laws kick in, and now you have a problem. Because it takes it seriously, the red flag laws, any kind of red flag laws, you don't even get a hearing in court. You don't even get that. In most states that have red flag laws, all you have to do is have an accusation. So the whole idea of innocent until proven guilty is gone. And that's what they're doing with this kind of thought. Is that, yeah, I saw Rick the other day. He was singing the song, Man, I Feel Like a Woman from Shania Twain. He obviously is, transgender. And there you go. Now, all of a sudden, my gun rights are gone. Why? There's nothing to indicate that any of this is even remotely possible or true. Now, that being said, we do have current statistics that the most recent quote-unquote mass killings, especially in schools, have been perpetrated by people who have claimed to be transgender. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every single transgender individual should automatically get their gun rights taken away. This is not, to me, this is not a negotiation situation. Okay, this is not, and I understand it's not completely a black or white situation. There is a lot of gray here. But the fact of the matter is, in the Constitution itself, under the Second Amendment, it says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. No different than the right to be secure in your persons. Now, there obviously is an exception, meaning that you've already gone through a trial. You've already gone through a trial and you become convicted. Now, all of a sudden, you lose things that normally would be, as a citizen would be given, which is your voting rights, for an example. You have to fight to get your voting rights restored after you have paid your penance. This is opening up a door that I don't think we need to be opening. This in particular is opening up a door that I don't think we want to walk through. Now, understandably, a knee-jerk reaction might be that this is something that, oh yeah, this just makes sense. No, it doesn't. Because again, now what you're doing is you are focusing on the tool being used. Just as much as people going after so-called assault weapons, which, as I've pointed out on this program, assault is a verb, not an adjective. So for you to say that a weapon is an assault weapon, that pretty much is just about anything. In fact, as I've pointed out on this program, statistically speaking, fists, hammers, blunt objects as a whole kill more people every year than even any kind of gun. And so what are we going to do now? Are we going to sit here and we're going to say, oh yeah, hey, you know what? If that person drinks, they partake in alcohol. Yeah, that person gets drunk more than a week, or more than once a week, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to take their gun rights. And next thing you know, every single thing that might be against society is going to become a problem. One of the challenges that you have with having an individual right to keep and bear arms in particular here, because it happens to be the subject matter, is that you need to accept the fact that there are going to be situations like this that are going to occur. But you don't try and solve the situation by taking away the right from a person who has literally done no wrong. You cannot take away. That would be no different than to sit here and say, you know what? Statistically speaking, suburban white women identify as liberal, leftist, Democrat lunatics. And they also, statistically speaking, have been diagnosed with a mental illness. Well, now, guess what? Liberal, white, leftist, lunatic, suburban women identifying themselves as having a mental illness lose their gun rights. That makes about just as much sense. And believe me, I'm waiting for the gun rights, the gun crazies to go nuts over this. Because they're going to say, well, that's unfairly, whatever. They're sitting there, and I'm sure you've seen this meme where you have two red buttons in front of you, in front of the character. And the character sits there and is sweating and like dabbing the character's brow, and they're trying to figure out which one of the red buttons do we hit. Because that's what you're doing here, people. Now, I totally and wholeheartedly disagree with this situation. Now, you know my stance on transgenderism. You know my stance on the idea, but this is taking it a step way too far, in my opinion. And it needs to drop off this particular thought process. This needs to go away for two reasons. One, it literally is unfair. It literally is unfair to take away somebody's rights. And if you want to sit here and talk about things like profiling and saying that profiling is bad, well, this is exactly what you're doing, is you're profiling. You're profiling the fact that transgenders may have a problem because of the fact that we've had 5, 6, 7 incidences in the last 10 years that have involved people who have identified as transgender. Just like we've had 4, 5, 6 bombings that have occurred being put out by Islamist extremists. No difference. So now what? Everybody who is a Muslim needs to lose their gun rights? And do you see how, I'm sorry, but this is one of the things no, let me rephrase that. I am not sorry. I am a Trump supporter, and I believe in Trump's policies, but I am also going to call out when this is bullshit and stupid. And this is bullshit and stupid. Completely. As much as I think that they are attempting to try and make this into a thing now, it's not. It's not. And the whole 100% idea to sit here and say that, yes, we're just going to label, we're going to put somebody into a box and we're going to throw them into a label and that's it. That's our decision. No. That's not what this country was founded on. This country was founded on the idea that the individual is responsible for themselves. See, this is starting to get into the leftist idea of identity politics. You fit in a certain box, we're going to stick you there. So I'm sorry, but again, I keep apologizing, but I'm just going to lay it out there. This is bullshit. This is total bullshit. And if this kind of thing ends up trying to become a case, it absolutely needs to be sued against. It absolutely would need to be overturned. It would absolutely need to be taken in through the court system. And this one literally would have the right to do so. You cannot just walk away with people's rights for no real reason. You can't. What you are doing is you are punishing the innocent because of the few rotten apples, the few guilty that have been put in place. This is part of the reason why our justice system is such that it's got such a high bar to call people guilty. As I recall, the idea there was rather let 10 guilty people go free than one innocent man go to jail. That's the principle of our justice system. That is one of the principles of America. And all of that being the case, you can't sit here and tell me that anybody with any sense or any adherence to the Constitution would be behind this. The same way that no Guard member should be behind the idea, like that dumbass just did in the video that I showed you, would be behind the idea of going and just collecting people's guns in America. Because what that idiot moron doesn't realize is that as a service member, as an enlisted service member, you stand up and declare an oath that says that you will defend the Constitution of the United States. In the last I read of the Constitution, which hasn't been changed in many, many years, it states that the people have a right to keep and bear their own arms. So this is ridiculous. I can't even imagine how they even kept a straight face on this idea to even talking about it. This is ridiculous. Now, all of that being said, I mean, why are they only focusing on transgenderism? Why don't they just say, hey, we're planning a ban on anybody who has gone to the doctor for mental illness? Period. Period. And just keep in mind here, I mean, that maybe somebody could get behind. But again, I'd have to, just like with the criminal, the person who commits a crime and gets incarcerated, essentially taking away their freedom to move about, their freedom to be able to communicate freely, their right to vote, their right to, all kinds of different things that are taken away when you go to jail. You could innately say that, hey, if you're being, institutionalized in a mental institution, or you're receiving outpatient treatment for a mental issue, you could go that far, and that might be a little more arguable. Because at least at that point, and obviously I would say that you could probably put in a provision within a law like that basically says, hey, they have to go to court. You have to show up in court in order to have this taken away. You might be able to get away with that one. You might in today's day and age. Now, me personally being a strict constitutionalist, that phrase shall not be infringed at the end does mean exactly that. But that kind of a scenario would be, I think, a lot more palatable than to just sit here and just say, well, transgenders, all transgenders. If you identify as transgender, you automatically lose your gun rights. That's not the way to go about this. There would have to be some sort of mitigating circumstance that would basically say that this person does not have the mental capacity to be able to own a gun. And then you might, and I'm not saying that this would be right, but in today's day and age, you might be able to get that passed. I would think it's wrong, but unfortunately, that's the thing. That's ridiculous. So, anyway. All right. Let's move on to another moron. Yeah, this one's the big one. And I'll let you listen to his words. Let's listen to his words in terms of what he thinks about rights. Take a listen.
The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the creator, that's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Shia law and targets Sunnis, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, and other religious minorities. And they do it because they believe that they understand what natural rights are from their creator. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling.
This is a Democrat. And you wonder why the Democrats are so unhinged and lost and everything else? This is a Democrat. Now, not only did he basically take the essentially the Declaration of Independence and just kind of pee on it. He also compared us to a authoritarian regime, that the religion is literally running the regime. So I'm going to remind Tim Kaine. I need to remind Tim Kaine that Thomas Jefferson, who by all accounts was considered to be a deist, and a deist, by the way, for unfortunately, most people think a deist means that they didn't believe in God. That's a bunch of shit. They believed in God. They just didn't believe in the revealed God. Okay? But here, second paragraph. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, known as the Declaration of Independence. And I'm just going to remind everybody that the preamble to the Declaration, the very first paragraph, the second paragraph, and so on and so forth, was not messed with by Congress. What was messed with were a lot of the individual items that he had listed out as grievances. But here, this is the second paragraph. And it starts, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed." Now, let me explain to you a little bit about that particular phraseology and what he is saying here. He is literally saying, and by that I mean Thomas Jefferson, is literally saying that rights are outside of government. That government's purpose, as I pointed out in the Institute of the Constitution's ad, the government's purpose is to secure the rights of the people from men. They don't create the rights. They secure the rights. That's the difference. And Tim Kaine believes that rights come from government. That is not true. Well, let me rephrase. Legally, the term right, just the term right, is, by legal definition, a right is a power or privilege held by the general public, usually as the result of a constitution, statute, regulation, or judicial precedent. Legal rights are enforceable by legal institutions and can be invoked in a court of law. But Tim Kaine, who obviously doesn't understand English, the terminology that is being used to give rights to the people has to deal with inalienable rights. An inalienable right means something that is not transferable or that is impossible to take away. Every single constitution provides for fundamental rights, which are inalienable rights. So the problem here, Tim Kaine, moron extraordinaire of the day, the problem here is that you talk about rights in a generic sense. The difference is you have inalienable rights, which cannot be taken away, which are above the government, which are given to every single individual by the Creator, by God. And it is those inalienable rights that are above the government. See, the government doesn't give us the right to free speech. The government doesn't give us the right to be alive. The government doesn't give us the right to own weapons to protect ourselves. The government does not give us the right to be secure within our persons from an overbearing government. See, if a right was given by a man's government, then it can also be taken away by man's government. The right to liberty, to being free, that is the right that is above government. It is beyond government. It is something that government cannot touch. Okay? This is the thing that Tim Kaine and the rest of the Democrats do not understand. And a lot of this, I'm going to be honest with you, has roots within the fact that they don't believe in a higher power. See, they believe that government is the power. And this is the thought process of the Marxist. The Marxist doesn't believe in God. The Marxist doesn't believe in a supreme being. The Marxist believes that government is the supreme being. They want you to think that government is the answer. Government is the benevolent one that provides you with everything. And this is where the fundamental issues come into play. Now, I want to address Tim Kaine's comment that the Iranian regime is the same as the the Declaration of Independence. The Iranian regime believes the same way. The only correlation between those two is the fact that the Iranian regime believes that their God, known as Allah, puts down and puts forth their religious laws. But that's the only correlation. Because there are natural laws that the founders of America recognized. They recognized the presence of a creator, every single one of them. They all recognized the fact that the natural law, or also known as God's law, supersedes and is above man's law. They recognized all of that. But where the difference comes into play between the two of them is the fact that God's law, in terms of our God, the one true God, is benevolent. It's written in terms of the tablet, the 10 Commandments. You can see the difference in the worshiping of the two. The 10 Commandments start off with, the golden rule and all of this other stuff. They talk about thou shalt not murder. It talks about thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Even within Genesis, the first book of the Bible, that first book talks about woman and how woman is supposed to be revered and connected to man because she is a part of man. She is made from his rib, and that she is to be an equal partner to man. That the two of them together do things. That is not the same And it's not even close to being the same as what the Muslims believe. See, Muslims believe that women don't have rights. Women don't have, the ability to be on as equal part to men. But in terms of the Bible and Genesis and everything else, women have their place, yes. But they also are an equal partner to man. They are meant to complement man. And when a man chooses his wife, they are to be complemented together. They are to work together towards the common goal. They become one flesh. That is nothing near what the Muslims believe. It'd be nothing near to what the Muslims believe. So he actually is a complete leftist lunatic moron. All right, folks, let's see. Do I have anything here that I really want to... Yeah, there's nothing really there. All right, let me take a quick break before I move on to my next topic. And let me tell you, because I don't do this very often, I really don't talk about myself or my products that often, so you're going to listen to it tonight. Store.americanperspective.online. If you want to show your support for the #1 liquid-fueled, liquid lubricated show on the interwebs, yes, that's a throwback to the Whiskey Musings phraseology. Yeah, you need to head off to store.americanperspective.online. That's store.americanperspective.online. You can go and check out all of my products, especially t-shirts that have my logo on them, like this one. This one right here. Yeah. You need to head off to store.americanperspective.online and check out all of my products, whether it's t-shirts, hoodies, crew neck, sweatshirts. I even still have tank tops and things like that. I've got coffee mugs. I've got water bottles. I've got a link to the Constitution of the United States as well. I've got a link to the old Whiskey Musing store, too. You got all of them. You can go and check it out. Go to store.americanperspective.online. That's store.americanperspective.online. And no, to answer the question, well, do you have any sales? Do you have anything coming up? I usually don't. And the reason is because of the fact that I keep my prices low. I take just a small portion off the top. It is really not that much. You guys are getting almost the cost of the product when you deal with me, outside of taxes, of course. But the cost of the product, you're almost getting the cost of the product. You're almost getting it at cost. It's just a small portion that is basically just taken for the show. So you need to go ahead and head on over to store.americanperspective.online. Check out all of the styles and stuff that I have there. And please, if you think you are going to support the show and you like the logo gear, please just pick something up. I'd appreciate it. I'd much rather you get something out of the deal than just a donation or something like that. So I appreciate it. Go and check it out. Store.americanperspective.online. All right. Okay. So, I wonder if Louisiana is going to, I wonder if Louisiana is going to sue to kind of block this thing. ICE's newest prison is now open for business. It's called the Louisiana Lockup. So the Louisiana State Penitentiary is now the newest immigration and customs enforcement detention facility, nicknamed the Louisiana Lockup. And it's housing essentially the worst of criminal illegal immigrants. Oh, well, illegal aliens. Come on, let's call them what they are, legally. Anyway, DHS officials confirmed that there are 51 illegal aliens that have already been transferred to the facility, according to Fox News. A section of the prison has been repurposed to house them, providing 416 beds, all made possible by funding from President Trump's big, beautiful bill, which allowed ICE to add approximately 80,000 new beds to help expedite deportation efforts. The illegal aliens will be housed in an unused section of the prison called Camp J, which was formerly called the Dungeon, as most of the cells in this section were used for solitary confinement. In preparation for ICE's use of the facility, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry declared a state of emergency in late July, allowing for expedited repairs on Camp J. Now, the Louisiana lockup, of course, is the newest prison to be turned into a ICE detention center following Alligator Alcatraz in Florida, the Cornhusker Clink in Nebraska, and even the Speedway Slammer in Indiana. Oh, there you go. It was used to be known as Angola Prison. It sits on about 18,000 acres of land and was once known as the bloodiest prison in the South. According to the prison's museum, the prison earned its reputation in 1962 due to how common stabbings were. In 1971, inmates sued the prison and won a class action case, forcing a federal court to step in and order reforms to its brutal conditions. So there you go. We now have the Louisiana lockup. Well, speaking of Alligator Alcatraz, you know, it was supposedly closed down, by the way. It was supposedly closed down by the court. Well, in a typical yo-yo fashion, here you go. The court now is allowing, the Federal Appeals Court issued a ruling today that is allowing the illegal alien detention center in Florida, dubbed Alligator Alcatraz, to remain open for business while a lawsuit against the state and the Trump administration makes its way through the court. So, yeah. Can you say yo-yo? Yeah, I knew you could. Yo-yo. Here we go. So Alligator Alcatraz is now back open for business. So the Obama-appointed federal district court judge issued a temporary restraining order last month, ordering Florida and the Trump administration to stop placing illegal aliens in the facility. And the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals blocked that judge's order in a 2-1 decision today. The judges ruled that a lawsuit brought by environmental groups and an American Indian tribe failed to state a viable claim, that Florida and the Department of Homeland Security violated federal environmental laws. You see, again, folks, like I told you, this was built on an already pre-existing airstrip in the middle of the Everglades. I really would like to understand how they can say that, hey, building further buildings on top of this is really going to be that much more environmentally, you know, abhorrent than this freaking aircraft runway. I mean, again, it's lawfare. It's lawfare to try and get shit shut down. And the reason being is that they're doing this because of the fact that the judges are not basically looking at people and going, you know what, this is really stupid. You were basically dumb. Sort of like the, in a way, the whole idea of being able to sue for just no reason, no particular reason. And in a way, I am going to say that, yeah, it's sort of like the McDonald's coffee thing. I mean, you know, coffee is going to be hot. It was back then. There wasn't anybody that was doing iced coffee back then. And so why in the hell would you put hot coffee, regardless of whether the temperature was, 160 degrees or 120 degrees? Why the hell would you stick hot coffee in between your thighs and try to drive? There's a certain point where Darwinism, and I do say Darwinism, Darwinism needs to take place. The theory of evolution. Anyway, I just say. So the majority wrote in the opinion on this court's decision, said, given that the federal government has an undisputed and wide-reaching interest in combating illegal immigration, and that illegal immigration is a matter of national security and public safety, we think the injunction issued below goes against the public interest. So, yeah, there you go. Both the Department of Homeland Security and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis celebrated this ruling. Right and proper. That's all I got to say. Right and proper. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. Once you are signed up and signed in, make sure you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Don't forget to download the Rumble app. You can do the same thing there. Also, before you take off, don't forget to hit those thumbs up, or if you really want to, a thumbs down on all of my platforms, whether it's YouTube, X, Facebook, and, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget, just a really quick last little shout-out, you got to check out 1 p.m. Central Time that's in the Americas. You got to check out Walter Trout's brand new album dropping on TGRN's Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio tomorrow. Again, 1 p.m. is the debut. Then you switch over to a YouTube Q&A, and then you come back to TGRN's Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio to listen to the album one more time. So don't forget that. That all starts at 1 p.m. Central tomorrow. Like I said, we will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.